control center. Keep him off my back.
You heard him.
We made it.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here, and this is a highly requested one as of late. This is Mass Effect Andromeda running on Xbox One X, and to talk about that is John Linneman.
Hey Tom, this is not the Master Chief Collection look, I'm sorry to say, someday, but this is kind of the runner-up. A lot of people have been asking for it, so hey, let's give it to them. Let's take a look at what we got here.
Yeah, this is really a quick-fire test, kind of like I took a dive into about an hour on the X and the Pro, just to get a sense of where we're at, because last time we saw it, it wasn't in the best state on PS4 Pro.
The first hour or two is actually extremely telling, and that's what turned me off of the game. I mean, I waited until it was all patched up somewhat, and you know, it's still not perfect, but it is improved from where it was at launch. But I had the PS4 Pro, or I had the PS4 version because it was so cheap on a sale at some point, and I tried to give it a shot, and the frame rate is really, really bad. I mean, this game did not run well at all in my experience. It was so bad and so distracting that I simply couldn't play the game, so I stopped. I've never gone back, and I always found it odd because Mass Effect Andromeda's the first gameplay we ever saw from the game was revealed at the reveal of the PS4 Pro. This was one of the first games shown, and it was shown with 1800p checkerboard rendering. So the fact that it's so poor on the Pro was kind of disappointing, and we kind of just assumed, I think, that okay, you know, it's an old game, it wasn't that successful. There's no reason why this would be updated for Xbox One X, yet, well, you have the story on this one, Tom.
Yeah, and absolutely I agree that the weight behind this game was there at the time of Pro's launch. I mean, you know, Mark Cerny did kind of tour with every developer to get their feelings on what they wanted from a mid-generation console update, and DICE and their Frostbite engine obviously weighed in massively on that. So yeah, this was an example, but I hadn't had a chance, to be honest, to play this game until testing it out today. And the fact is, I went in with X first and immediately saw pretty much a good 30 FPS line, not locked, but it was so much better than what I'd go on to play on the PS4 Pro version afterwards. We had a conversation about, you know, you weren't very happy with how it performed, and I immediately saw why. It's still kind of in that mid-20s, you know, certainly sub-30 region. I've taken the worst case scenario from the Pro and put it on X, sort of this run through the escape on this first planet, and it just runs flawlessly at 30 FPS. So all your problems are allayed there, that's all sorted, and it's definitely the best running console version right now.
I mean, that's great that they actually fixed it, and it seems like we finally at last have a console version of the game that runs pretty well. But I am surprised by how poor the performance was in the first place, considering that the Frostbite engine showcased very smooth performance in general this generation. Where, you know, a lot of games are targeting 60 FPS with it, but there's still plenty of 30 FPS titles as well, and we haven't really encountered a lot of issues on these systems. So Andromeda kind of reminds me of last gen Frostbite performance, if you know what I mean, where, you know, it's obviously has the visual upgrades you'd expect, but it just doesn't run well on those. And yeah, it's really nice to see that they finally updated the game to run so well.
Oh hell, they got the jump on us! Careful, they got one of those animals!
One thing that really stood out to me is that this is a hugely visually over, I think, the Battlefield series. You know, it's got that 60 target, and it looks great. But there's so much going on in terms of the density of detail on the planet. That initial area in Andromeda, certainly looking ahead to games like Anthem, I see kind of the technology being repurposed. There's definitely a lineage from there to the other game.
I mean, yeah, that's fair, though. Anthem is kind of being developed by somewhat of a different team, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's right.
But still, I guess what I'm curious about is, what are your thoughts on, you've never played this before. This game is notorious. It launched with so many bugs, and like the presentation was just questionable, to say the least. How does it feel now, like just loading it up? I mean, does it actually seem kind of alright?
It seems good. I mean, in terms of the polish, it's there. Maybe there were some glitches. Certainly I've not had a massive sample size.
How about the dead eyes? That was the thing. I think they fixed that in a patch, or at least improved it, but originally it made it, all the characters seemed as if they were kind of staring off into space, and it was really weird because Mass Effect 1, especially the default male Shepard, which is the only good-looking character model, human character model in Mass Effect 1, I know, changed my mind. But yeah, like that actually looks better to me than anything in Andromeda in terms of character interactions. But what's it looking like now to you? Like how does the animation hold up when you're just talking to others?
Coming in fresh, I don't see any real problem with it. They've still got this gaunt sort of uncanny valley vibe to them. That was always kind of a part of Mass Effect to an extent, even though I was really impressed by the sort of the automated lip movements in the original trilogy. This is not glaringly bad. There are some parts in the dialogue trees which sound terrible, like the automated response from one of the characters is he goes, okay, and then he just fires into the ground and looks back up emotionless. It's bizarre sometimes.
Stay pissed. Use it. Will do.
Just remember, we need that ammo.
Strangle them if I have to.
What about the others?
Fisher's wounded but sitting tight. No sign of Greer.
We know now that the game had a pretty troubled development, but still, it did have good combat to begin with, so that's cool. And this actually seems like a decent way to enjoy it. But beyond, you know, the game itself, I mean, this is interesting because it's the same resolution on Pro and X, isn't it?
That's right, so 3200 by 1800 with what appears to be checkerboarding, the same sort of artifacts pop up, so there's definitely not much between them in terms of the image quality if you have them side by side. It's a very surprising turnout if you're expecting, like, because we've had dynamic res with a higher threshold in Battlefield, but this time they've kind of just locked it straight at the same res as Pro, but definitely it resolves to 1800p either way, and the temporal anti-aliasing is very much in there. It gives you that sort of ghosting effect if you turn very quickly. Regardless, checkerboarding or not, it's the same, and there's definitely a sense that Bioware wanted to push on the frame rate and solve that problem first, rather than fix the image quality, which, to be honest, held up pretty well against the 4K maxed out on PC. I think they made the right call here, attacked the right objective.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad then. Again, I'm just kind of surprised to see a developer returning at this stage back to patch up a game like this. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I would still love to see another Frostbite game, a Mirror's Edge Catalyst, patched with Xbox One X or Pro support. Because that's a beautiful game, especially on PC, but the console versions are capped at 900p. And I'm sure that they could do better than that with these consoles.
Yeah, I wonder what happened, what prompted them to suddenly come out with the Andromeda patch now. I guess there was a blank slate in the schedule, who knows, but...
Hey, maybe Microsoft bought the IP back. Or they bought the IP or something, I doubt it.
Who knows, sort of, yeah. One other thing I guess it's worth saying, the visuals are improved on X. They did do some work behind the scenes. Yeah, it's not just, you know, the performance. They just used whatever headroom was spare GPU-wise and bumped up the ambient occlusion quality. And there's also the shadows as well, which are just higher quality on the ground there. So generally speaking, it's a small touch-up. You don't get the tessellated terrain of the PC or the high quality skin maps of PC at max, which would have been nice, but you do get a small embellishment here and there.
Okay, well that's pretty cool then. So yeah, this is a cool patch overall. Very unexpected one, but this actually might be the time to give this game a shot, I suppose, if you haven't played it yet, because it's the first time we have a console version that plays the game smoothly at a solid 30 FPS with some pretty nice visuals, and most of the bugs should be fixed at this point. So I guess if you haven't played it and you're interested, this is not a bad place to jump in.
Right, so that's kind of a quick look. There may be more to see in this game later on, but we thought we'd give you kind of a bite-sized sample of what's going on in X at least. But thanks so much, John, for joining me.
Yeah, of course, Tom, anytime.
And if you did like or appreciate the work we do in our videos, do give us a like or subscribe here. And to get notifications as any video lands, we have the bell in the corner. Just click that and a video notification will pop up. The source file to this video is on our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net. And if you want to contact me or John, you can just use Twitter. But until next time, thanks for watching.